Okay, we're rolling again. When I got sidetracked there at the end, I forgot to add what I was talking about before I got into the whole board of directors thing. Also, that board of directors is actually going to be a financial cover should, things like the economy crash and things like that. So, part of being on a board of directors to also financially support that business and have those funds set aside, as it's sort of like when you part out your business, it's a corporate shareholder. Okay, and you can look up shareholding and what it means to kind of like actually own part of the business. Your board of directors need to be shareholders. Okay, it doesn't have to be that way. It's a good thing. And it's a good option because if you should ever go belly up or whatever, you have these shareholders that can kind of all come together. So that's a whole nother discussion for a whole nother time. What I was going on about before the board of directors thing is the peer-reviewed articles and journals when you try to find an open-end university library. Anybody basically out there Google's a fabulous source of information. However, anybody can write pretty much anything they want. I don't know if you're aware of this. We were never allowed to use Wikipedia, about.com, Ask Jeeves. Oh, there was a lot of websites out there that even little 13-year-old kids could get on there and say their 2 cents worth, and they may be 100% correct in their findings. However, they don't really have the qualifications to be writing about that stuff, and they a lot of times get their information wrong because they heard it from a friend or whatever. So try not to use Google as a search engine tool, or think that just because a website looks very professional and it's been a business established since 1999 or 2001 or whatever, that doesn't necessarily mean that that's a good source of information. So when you are going to establish your business and you need to look up whether or not something's legal, or if you can do this and get away with it, or if there's a loophole in the system, or how to handle certain behaviors and things of that nature, you want to go to try to find a university library where they will that's open to the public. And when you click on the peer-reviewed journal as a way to modify down and be more specific in the search terms. What a peer-reviewed journal is, it's a lot like a board of directors. In fact, it's a panel of at least 2 or 3 people that have PhD or doctorate degrees, so many years of experience in the field, and they are, like I said before, they are more than qualified to spout their mouth off and give their 2 cents worth, because they actually know what they're talking about, because they've seen it with their own eyes, they've experienced it with their own 2 hands, they've studied and earned that degree and put it into practice, and they are well reputable people. They're well known people. So when you're looking for information, you narrow it down to these peer-reviewed articles. Sometimes a lot of these journals and articles and magazines will have as many as up to like 5 doctors or government officials or whatever, all chiming in, that can validate and validate each other's findings and back up each other's arguments and say, yeah, I validate that person. What they said is absolutely true. I've seen it, and here's my story. And so, I did a whole class on what it really means to have validity in your business, and it uh, it was absolutely priceless. It was so valuable to me to really understand what validity means and to have that transparency going on in your business. So when you're looking for information, I can even still look up. At my university, I'm alumni, so I will always have that open resource. My husband Ben, he's alumni from ITT Tech for technical type stuff. So those libraries are available to us. I'm not going to give out the password. Don't ask. I know you wouldn't anyways, but We can look up some information just to make sure that we're not spouting off our mouth with this, well, I think, there's no room for I think in business. You have to know. And so you really need to know your stuff. So that last tidbit is probably the last thing on my list that I was going to discuss and go over. So I hope this wasn't too disappointing. I know that some people were probably really expecting things like, how do I set up an accounting program, and how do I establish employees, and a lot of these other things that I could just go on and on and on about. But see, this is why you hire qualified employees to know this stuff, that have specialized degrees in this type of stuff, so that you don't run into problems and stuff later. Like I had a business that I only worked for about 4 months because I found out that they were doing some very illegal stuff, like posting trips to Disneyland and Legoland as a business expense. And because I know now that that's downright illegal, you can't do that. You can't claim it on your taxes, and IRS will catch up to you. And if I report that, they could even go to jail. It's called white collar crime. So it's good to have. I'm not saying, snob people that don't have fancy dancy educations. Please don't do that. But, you know, I think I've really just covered some of the foundational stuff. If you don't have a firm foundation, you do not have a rock to stand on. You have, when you're building a house, when you're building a business, you have to have that firm foundation. And even though it's very dull and boring, and it seems like it should just be an automatic common sense thing, there's a lot of little fine details that if you don't cover those and you don't take the time to do the boring stuff, you are setting yourself up for failure. Okay, so it's real important that once you get this all established, then we can talk about things like, how does EDD work, how to hire employees, what to look for, time cards, how are you going to pay them, anyways. I don't know really how it works in other countries. However, here in America, we have the Employee Developmental Department, the EDD. So this employment department is like a government thing, and my business was actually getting fined because somebody reported to them that they were paying us in cash, which that was never covered in the job interview. If I had known they were going to pull that business, that would have told me right there, this company is not someone who is professional enough that you want to work for. At least not someone with my education, and or I hate to keep saying that, but like, my level of experience, that was, you know, it, they're saying that they're a baby business, but hey, dude, you've been in business for 7 years, so you should be well established with EDD, and your stuff should be legal. You shouldn't be doing this sneaking around stuff. It's not okay. Somebody will report you. And because, I did / administrative accounting, I opened up their mail and I could see that they're getting penalized. Somebody did report. Somebody will tell on you. So this is why the foundations are so, so important. And I'm rambling again. So anyways, it's up to you. It's really up to you how serious you want to take these videos, how, much effort you want to put into, getting this foundation straight and settled to cover your butt. And, everything else will fall into place, and it's time. Everything will come together. So, good luck, and, email me, or, comment me, or IM me with your questions, okay? All right, it's very late at night, 10 o'clock, woohoo! So I'm going to say good night, and we'll see you on the flip side. Good night. John A.